Hey, razor mouth for Trump the media. Did you catch Tucker Carlson the other night? I don't know if you're watching Fox News. I'm not, but I get these text messages from friends saying, "Did you see this?" And no, I didn't see it, but I always take the time to watch it. Apparently, Tucker has decided to put his anger and his frustration aimed squarely at Sidney Powell and the Trump legal team. Here's a little excerpt of what he had to say.
So that's a long way of saying we took Sidney Powell seriously. We had no intention of fighting with her. We've always respected her work. We simply wanted to see the details. How could you not want to see them? So we invited Sidney Powell on the show. We would have given her the whole hour. We would have given her the entire week, actually, and listened quietly the whole time at rapt attention. That's a big story. But she never sent us any evidence, despite a lot of requests, polite requests. Not a page.
You gotta be kidding me.
When we kept pressing, she got angry and told us to stop contacting her. When we checked with others around the Trump campaign, people in positions of authority, they told us Powell has never given them any evidence either, nor did she provide any today at the press conference. Powell did say that electronic voting is dangerous, and she's right. We're with her there. But she never demonstrated that a single actual vote was moved illegitimately by software from one candidate to another. Not one. Why are we telling you this? We're telling you this.
All right, I gotta stop it there. Somebody wrote me and it says, "Is Tucker stupid or has he become corrupt?" I actually don't think it's either or. It could be both, but I actually don't think that's what his ailment is. That's not what's afflicting him. I think what's afflicting Tucker Carlson is the same disease that is afflicting so many of these people in national news media, and it's a sense of their own self-aggrandizement, their sense of power, and that because they're the fourth estate, that somehow they are in a position where when they make a demand of someone, you better cough it up or else. Now, I don't know if Tucker Carlson watched the entire hour and a half press conference yesterday at the legal team, but they made it pretty clear in giving an overview of the evidence and a taste of what is to come. But they made it really clear as to why they're not showcasing all the evidence. And so it leads me to believe that Tucker Carlson is somewhat of a stupid man, filled with his own self-aggrandizement, because he should know better than anybody how something like this could be twisted in the national news media. The Trump legal team gave three really important points that I think we should drive home, and let's listen to it in their own words. Okay?
Question about the process. Your question is fundamentally flawed when you're asking where is the evidence. You clearly don't understand the legal process. What we have asked for in the court is to not have the certification of false results. And so to say, hold on a minute, we have evidence that we will present to the court. We haven't had the opportunity yet to present that to the court. We're giving you an overview and a preview of what we've discovered, but no court yet we've had that opportunity. So when we have fraud allegations pending. So what we've asked for are temporary restraining orders or injunctions to not certify false results. We're very happy that Michigan, the reason we dismissed that lawsuit today is because the Michigan county in Wayne County, they're not going to certify that because 71% of counties have inconsistent data. No person in this room or in this country should want states to rush through and coronate a president with false results. We have to make sure that the results are accurate. Okay. That's what we will prove.
Two more questions.
Okay. That's Jenna Ellis, one of the members of the legal Trump team, and she gave a good answer, but let me put it to you real straightforward. Tucker, you ain't getting any evidence until it gets presented in a court of law. Now, what is so hard to understand here? You know, I can't count how many times you'll hear these media personnel will interview somebody in the FBI or in the Justice Department, and the standard line is, "Look, I can't comment on a case that's pending right now. I can't comment on a case that's pending." You hear it all the time, repeatedly. the media tends to accept that when it's the FBI or the DOJ. But for some reason, we're hounding this team, insisting that they present all the evidence for the scrutiny of the media first before it gets presented in an actual court of law. And from what I understand, these court claims, these lawsuits are pending. They're not down the road for months on end. This is going to come before a judge in due course very quickly. So, Mr. Tucker Carlson, you'll get full overview of the evidence at that point. The difference is you're not getting an exclusive. You're not getting firsthand reference to it. And rightfully, you shouldn't, because frankly, there isn't a media personality that I can think of that any one of us would trust with this information. So Jenna Ellis there basically says, the evidence, we're giving you an overview right now of what we have. This actual evidence we'll be presenting in a court of law, and we're going to leave it there for now, okay? So that's the first point they make. Let's move on to the second point, and that is the affidavits and witnesses. Check out how Rudy deals with this issue.
Oh, there we go.
If the courts don't let you present these cases like Dennis just said, will you give the entire bulk of the evidence to the media?
So you hear that question? That was from the Daily Caller, some guy from the Daily Caller, who said, if all of this doesn't, takes too long, will you give all the bulk of your evidence to the media to comb through? And this is how he answers that question.
And so, when are you going to drag this thing out like the Hunter Biden part?
We're not going to drag it out. I mean, it's ridiculous for you to say we're dragging it out. Well, Al Gore had a lot more time than we've had, and we've had 2 weeks to investigate. So that's also completely unfair to say we're dragging it out. Also, if we're going to present things in court, if we present it to you, judges are not going to be very happy with us. And finally, I have to tell you, our witnesses don't want to be exposed to the tender mercies of a vicious press. I have great difficulty getting those witnesses that I did reveal to allow me to do it. They don't trust you. They don't like you. They think you put their lives in jeopardy with the spin that you put on what's going on here and with the unfairness in which you cover it. It's not easy to reveal the things that they tell me. The answer is I can't do it because I can't put a witness's life in jeopardy or a person who thinks their life in jeopardy. This woman tells me we have lawyers dropping out of the case. We have lawyers dropping out of the case because they're being threatened with destruction of their careers, destruction of their livelihood, and in some cases, destruction of their lives. That comes about because of the hysterical way in which you have covered Donald Trump and his administration. But
all right, so I just got to pause there. So there you have it, Tucker. You have such a sense of your own grandeur and a sense of self-entitlement and grandizement because you're in a big cable news network with a big hit show, although I would imagine your ratings have plummeted, that there are reasonable people of integrity and character right now who are basically, for good reason, holding their cards close to their chest, and they're not about ready to reveal it until due time. And that due time is when they are actually in a court of law in front of a judge where the rules of engagement, the rules for proper protocol and process, rules for understanding evidence, all of the things that guard evidentiary proceedings in a court of law will be upheld, we hope and trust. And that's where they will release this information. And at that point, you people in the media who are doggedly insisting that the legal team, Trump's legal team, is not presenting evidence, will finally get to hear it and see it, but not until it's presented in a court of law. Okay, so stuff it, right, Tucker? Just take it down a notch, please. No one's interested in your sanctimonious wrath here that somehow the American people are being ripped off and being held as rubes because the Trump legal team is pulling one over everybody. No, we get it. We get it. And we get why this is sensitive. And we get why they don't trust you guys, especially you at Fox News Network. Now, one other thing that I think needs to be brought out, and that's for all those those trolls that get on our site and all the other sites to talk about how the Trump legal team is losing all of these court cases, and it's never going to come to the light of day, right? I've heard this from many of you silly trolls that come on our website. Well, here's a little information for you. This is also from yesterday's presser. I don't know if you trolls took the time to actually listen to the content of this press conference, but here it is.
We don't have a lot of lawsuits. We only have 3. Our lawsuits have not been dropped all over the place. Okay, well, you're a totally discourteous person. I'm going to finish my answer. So, I'm going to finish my answer. The fact is we have very, very few lawsuits. The lawsuits you're talking about have been brought by private individuals and groups. Most of them were dismissed for lack of standing, probably correctly, because they...
Okay, so just to be clear, in case you weren't following, people have been accusing the Trump team of losing so many court cases in the various courts throughout the battleground states, and the point is they haven't. As Rudy just points out, they've got 3 lawsuits right now pending. 3. They had 4, and they withdrew 1 because they got what they wanted. So they've only got 3. So all of these other court cases that people are talking about have nothing to do with Trump's legal team. These are court cases and lawsuits that were filed by individuals and private parties beforehand, and has no bearing on the Trump team's legal lawsuits at this point. Lawsuits.
They were brought before the election took place. The election is now over. The only lawsuit we have withdrawn is the one where we got the relief that we wanted, and that's the one in Michigan. We also have another lawsuit in Michigan that will accomplish the other objectives of what we want to do in Michigan. So it's silly to have 2 competing lawsuits. The only lawyer that left a case left because he was threatened. His family was threatened. His children were threatened. And so was the other lawyer. Yeah, that's true. We have a little difficulty getting lawyers because our lawyers get threatened with being killed because of the ridiculous way in which you cover this and the ridiculous way in which you cover. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about everybody, but I get a pretty good sense from the way you handle yourself, how you cover it. Oh.
Okay, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, which is standing right almost directly behind Rudy Giuliani, and then Jenna Ellis, and then you have another notable lawyer standing directly behind Rudy Giuliani. You can't see him right now. DeGeneva, I believe is his name. All very reputable, solid lawyers, people of integrity and character who've been in the profession for a long time. They're clearly not being frivolous here. They know. Listen, you can bank on this logically, that if this were a bluff, if they were full of it, they know their careers will be finished if they were bluffing here and that they were not actually coming forward with real stuff. I tend to believe them, partly because I'm sympathetic to Trump's claims. I do believe the election was stolen from him, but I tend to believe them a whole lot more than somebody who has a sense of entitlement and grandizement like Tucker Carlson and the so-called other people on the Trump team who haven't seen any evidence. The fact is, most media and many insiders in Washington, D.C., and perhaps even on the Trump campaign team are not trustworthy people who are only looking out for their own careers, only looking for their own advancement, and would abuse this information and create such a stir that if it finally gets before a judge, the judge will have to dismiss it outright for having been compromised. So I think that they should stick to their guns and follow the process. This is ultimately about winning a legal battle. This is not about impressing the media and making friends with them. We all know what they're all about. We all know they're the enemy of the people. And Tucker, you better take it down a notch or 2, or you're going to find yourself with a no standing show. I'm out.